Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to have a little talk about that saying, you know, where it says crap happens. Use a little bit more colorful word for that, but something happened that kind of sucks with this car. But as you can see, it is sitting here in the front yard because it is running and driving again. Let's talk about a little mistake that I had made that kind of caused a big problem for me. Alright, so let me apologize in advance for the wind. I was kind of hoping it wouldn't be so windy today, but I finally got around to making the video that needed to happen about something that I did when I put this back together. So I didn't make any videos of getting it together, as far as like putting the rear end in and getting the engine put back in the car, just because I was trying to get it done. We're still trying to hit that May 15th deadline, and so far we're actually going to do it. I've already got the trailer reservation made to take the Grand Prix back to Ohio, so that's definitely happening. Right now I'm working on the tuning for the car, so trying to get the mass airflow table worked out, get the volumetric efficiency table worked out, and hopefully start getting into the timing. I'm having a little bit of issue with some knock that I think is false, because I will just get these blips of like 8 degrees of KR, and it doesn't kind of build up, it just happens, it holds there and then it goes back down. So I did just get a knock sensor code today for knock sensor circuit 1, so I'm going to put some new knock sensors in it this week, and then hopefully I can try to get that resolved. I don't think that's what's causing this problem, because I had the same problem when tuning the other engine. The other engine. You caught that right. Well, unfortunately I made a mistake, and when I put the engine back in the car, I may have made a boo-boo. So let's get into talking about that, and then kind of talk about the positive outlook of that. So it is kind of a negative thing, but we'll get to that. Okay, so there it is, all in there. Now, as you can see, we've got that other water pump in there. We no longer have the alternator sitting up here. I still need to clean up this wiring. This was just to get it rocking and rolling. Changed over to a 3-wire coolant temp sensor from a, I think, 98 Camaro with the 5.7, so that way my coolant temperature gauge will actually work. And I do have a working oil pressure gauge now. When I first got the engine back in the car, the other engine that we just got done putting together, it wasn't working right. Like, it would sit at 20 psi and then not move, and then it kind of zeroed out, and I thought, well, maybe it's because I actually had that plugged into the factory sensor hoping that it would work, and it didn't. And maybe I burn out the gauge or something. So when I first started up the car after putting the engine back in, it had like a lifter tick noise, which was like, okay, well, it's been sitting for a while, it was all taken apart, it is what it is. And it actually ended up quieting down as I was bleeding the coolant out, and it stopped making the noise. So I thought, okay, it's time to take this thing down the road and see what it does, make sure everything goes good. I mean, I got the new heads on there, everything's rocking and rolling. Well, I got to the gas station down the road, and it was making a lot of top end noise. So I was like, okay, well, let me get this thing back to the house. Let's check it out. Let's see what's going on. I didn't really think about the fact that it might not have any oil pressure. So I get about 2 miles down the road, and the car just shuts down. Coast off to the side. I'm looking at it, trying to crank it over. It just thud. It won't crank. It's locked up. So I'm like, what did I do? What in the world could have happened from putting it together that could have went wrong? And I did a little bit of looking, and this is something that when I was putting it together I thought about, but didn't double check myself on, which kind of goes to show you that even if you're confident in yourself, you should always make sure that you've got something 100% right, especially if there's any question at all in your mind about whether or not it is right. So what I ended up doing that caused me to have to get another engine is those two lines down there. Those are to my oil filter relocation adapter. Some of you guys are already like, oh, I already know what you did. Put the lines on backwards. Yeah, that's exactly what I did. Because of that, the engine starved for oil and it locked up. I got it back here to the house, took out the oil, obviously filled with metal shavings, put some 20W50 in it that I had laying around, and surprisingly, it started back up. And it didn't really make much noise. So I was like, oh, well, okay, maybe I'll put a bearing, bearing set in it or whatever, but let me pull it out and see if I even can. Got it out and there's no way. There's not a chance. It would need a crank kit. It would need all kinds of stuff. I mean, it's kind of a given when the thing locked up. But, now it was kind of like, well, I need to get another engine. All this work and all this stuff that I've done, I can't just stop here because I need an engine. Yeah, it was a mistake. Everybody makes mistakes. So what am I going to do? I just got to get it up and rolling, especially if I still want to get this thing back to Ohio. So what I ended up finding here, this is an LQ4 from a 2002 GMC Sierra Denali with, you ready for it, 277,000 miles. So it's a high mileage girl, that's for sure. I didn't do anything as far as putting any new gaskets on it, other than valve cover gaskets and the oil pan gasket, and obviously water pump gaskets. But the valley cover's leaking a little bit, and then it does just have the 317 heads on it still. I didn't go through the process of putting the 799s on it. It was kind of just do or die. I mean, I got to get this thing up and rolling. I got to get some tuning adjusted on it, so that way when I get it back to Ohio, I can, number one, show everybody how bad of a burnout this thing can do, and then second of all, all my little Honda buddies, they need to have some actual competition, not something that's throwing false knock and pulling timing way back with no power. So anyways, it sucks, but you can't give up just because of something like that. I've had some other things going on in my life right now that have got me pretty down in the dumps, which I think is why it's taken me so long to even get this video up. And I kind of apply the same idea of what I'm looking at with this as far as crap happens. But you can't give up on what you're trying to achieve or yourself because things just aren't going right. Okay, you have to keep pushing, you have to keep going. Yeah, I could have beat the crap out of myself for making this mistake. Same with my other situation. I could beat the crap out of myself, which I kind of have, but I got to move on. I got to keep rolling, keep pushing, and not let it stop me from making progress in my life or with this car. So don't ever give up. That goes right back to the anything's possible. Okay, anything's possible. And one thing that's most definitely possible is, I guess, self-forgiveness, realizing that it'll be all right, that this kind of thing happens if you don't double check yourself. I mean, I don't want to say that you have to doubt yourself, but you have to make sure that you kind of do things in the right way, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how else to put it. Just know that you can't ever give up. And that's most definitely not what I'm going to do. So anyways, we are going to go ahead and start the car up, give it a couple revs, give it a listen, and then I'll also try to give you a peek under the rear end to show you what that axle ended up looking like in there, and man, it looks good. Just to note some of the things that the car is doing from the driving that I've done. We still have a vibration above 60 miles an hour. I think that definitely has to do with pinion angle issues. Once again, we all know that this was built in my backyard, so it's not like I'm not positive that that's 100% right as far as the pinion angle goes. So I really need to get some adjustable control arms and do some tweaking in the rear, but that's not too big of a deal. The ring and pinion is still noisy. Yes, we all know that. There's been comments on the other videos about fixing the pinion bearing and this and that. Well, it is the ring and pinion. It is not the pinion bearing. It is the ring and pinion making noise. I bought it from the swap meet. It was cheap, alternative to buying a brand new $200 one. So I got the $60 swap meet special, and it ended up being really noisy. I had everything dialed in as far as the backlash goes and the pre-tension on the bearings and all that, and or the preload, sorry, and it's just noisy. And especially after driving a little bit and things kind of getting even more worn in, it is what it is. So we will get a new ring and pinion eventually, and you know, we'll kind of probably piggyback that with putting the different control arms on it. The next thing that still has to be resolved is getting this steering angle fixed. It's not a big deal when I'm cruising down the road or going through an intersection or whatever. It feels okay. Doing donuts, it does it just fine. But in tight spaces, like a parking lot maneuver, it does skip. The outside wheel is turning more than the inside when you're making a turn. The opposite is supposed to be happening. The reason that's happening is because the spindles are flipped from side to side as far as they were front wheel drive, you know, configuration. So when I did that, it basically reversed everything. So there's a hook, and I've talked about this before, there's a hook on that spindle that comes out, and the tie rod connects out here on the end of that hook. It needs to be straight out like this now that it's on the front side in order to fix that problem. So I need to do some investigating on some different spindles, maybe from a different car, where I can change the ball joint and then maybe change the, you know, the strut mount part on the bottom of the, or sorry, the spindle mount part on the bottom of the coilover or something. I got to figure something out with that. That's kind of the least of my concerns. Not really too worried about that because the car does drive fine otherwise. It's just kind of a pain in the butt, especially like you go to a car show or something and you're trying to back into your space and you got to do a, you know, 10-point turn just to make it happen. But no big deal. So let's start this thing up, give it a listen, and then we'll check out that rear end too. Alright, so yeah, I mean, it's pretty healthy. For that many miles, it runs pretty smooth. And don't worry, it's already warmed up. I'm not cold revving this thing. I just got back from driving it. And I'm pretty happy with it. I do hear what sounds like a little bit of piston slap. You know, at least that's all I can think it is, just because of knowing that these earlier LQ4s, like from a 2002, doesn't have the coating on the side of the pistons, which is unfortunate because my 03 engine did. Moron. I still can't believe I did that. I mean, such a simple thing trashed the whole engine. I mean, dang it. But whatever. So anyways, as you can hear, it's up and running. Everything's all cool. I've been driving it. I've been getting things adjusted, and this thing's gonna rock and roll for that trip. So probably won't be another video until then. I know there was kind of a gap between this one and the last one. So not this next weekend, but the weekend after that is when I'm actually going. So I'll try to cover things, show basically getting there, and then actually the little burnouts and burgers thing. Keep in mind, everybody, this isn't a huge event. It's not like a thing like LS Fest or something like that. Just kind of a fun little thing that my buddies put together, and they started doing shortly after I moved to North Carolina. And I just have wanted to go ever since they started doing it. So that's why we went so hard at getting this thing ready to rock and roll. So I'm going to make it, and I'm happy about that. I'm excited to get there, and excited to take the car back to show everybody all the hard work that I've put into it. I haven't been able to really show all my old buddies this car, which it kind of sucks, you know, not having anybody to share it with, but sharing it with you guys, apparently. So let me hop underneath the back of the car, we'll check out the rear end, and then we'll end it off there. Okay, let's see if we can get a good angle on this thing. Oh, I don't know if we're really going to be able to see it, but yeah, you can. There it is. Now, I probably still need to add little pieces to this as far as like coming off this side and going around to there. But I have had no bending issues with this grade 8 bolt, which I'm really happy about. So I'm not really too concerned about it. Maybe once I get into some more power, that might be an issue. But so far, so good on that. And then these obviously need to get changed. These are the lower control arms. They're eBay specials. So that front bushing is getting worn out. We've talked about that before. And then I trimmed out some more metal around this area up front, in front of the axle, to make things a little bit cleaner. And then, you know, I still need to get all these, you can see these coming up, these lines and that brake line. I still need to get little brackets and stuff for that, but once again, no big deal. But the rear end looks phenomenal in there. I'm really happy with how that turned out with that POR 15. I don't think there's anything else to really go over under the back here. I did not POR 15 any of the body. Now, why, you might ask? Well, it's because I'm still not sure how much more I'm going to do back here. I don't want to POR 15 everything and then not be able to clean it off very easily and weld to it and things like that. So wasn't really much of a point to do it right now. I really wanted to, which is one of the main reasons why I took the car apart. But I got the axle looking good, so I'm happy about that. But other than that, I think that's about it. So once again, at the end of the day, if anything in your life, not even just with these cars, comes up where it's like, man, this is just killer. Whether it was a mistake that you made or even the actions of somebody else, don't get yourself down. Just keep on going. You know, we all have one life to live. You got to make the best of it. You got to do the best that you can with what you've got to work with. So don't waste time lingering on things that aren't going to serve you any benefit from lingering on them, I guess is the best way of putting it. You just got to buck up. You got to switch on that on switch, get it back on, and make it happen. Keep on going. Don't give up. And that's one of the main things about this channel is, you know, I could give up at any point in time, say, this isn't worth it. I got steering angle issues. I got, my engine blew up. I'm you know, got a ring and pinion noise. You know what? I'm just going to sell everything. I'm just done. I'm not doing it anymore. No, I'm not doing that. No way. Not a chance. This whole project has ultimately taught me so much, not even just with doing the fabrication work. It's taught me so much with patience and you know, picking my brain and sitting back and really thinking about, you know, what's this going to take? What's that going to take? And I've applied those same lessons to my life in general about how important it is to just sit back and figure things out. Don't just give up because you've hit something hard, right? You know, being a little too philosophical here or whatever. But seriously, you know, I hope that my other situation that I've got going on that's kind of personal works out in the end. But if it doesn't, I'm still me. I know I'm still awesome personally, you know, not trying to sound arrogant, but I personally feel like I'm a great person, and that's all that matters at the end of the day. I know I've got me, and you know, that's what really counts. So anyways, let's end it off there. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think. I mean, bonehead move on the whole oil, you know, relocation line thing, whatever. But if you're excited to see the car back up and going and you can't wait to see what it does, or you can't wait to see the burnouts and burgers and the burnout this thing's going to lay out, I got another set of wheels and tires going on the back of this thing, and I'm roasting them till they're gone. I'm not going to blow them because I don't want to cause any damage, but we're definitely going to make sure that it lays down the best burnout it can, especially if it's traveling 8 hours to get there. So yeah, let me know down in the comments what you guys think. If you like the video, hit the like button. If you despise me and you don't like me, hit the dislike button. And then you know, share it with your buddies, show them what's going on. It's a pretty cool project, I think, and I think a lot of people can appreciate just how much hard work has gone into it. And you know, it would help me out a ton as far as continuing to build this channel. You know, and I hope hope you guys have a great day. So I'll catch you on the next one. See you guys.